had a crazy situation happen to them on the tennis court. I love playing adult tennis, but tennis is also a very difficult sport. It's strange in that you keep your own score and you can easily get frustrated because the ball doesn't go where you want it to go. And if you're like me, you're not very good, but you're competitive and you're dealing with the personalities of maybe 3 other people on the court that are going through the same process. Most of the time, it is fantastic and it's a great experience. But if you do play adult tennis long enough, you most likely will have a crazy situation that happens. 2 of my friends, Michelle and Aaron, are going to talk about a crazy situation that happened on the court to them and if they learned anything. Just so you know, these players have played from 2.5 to 4.0 to give you a range. Aaron, do you have a crazy situation that's happened to you?
I do. I actually have a singles situation. I was the only one playing that day. Typically, we play 3 courts of singles, but I think we had a rain out or for some reason we had to do a makeup match. And we started playing and she was beating me pretty easily at first. I was down 5-0 and I just figured her out. I won a game and then I won a second game. Won the next 7 games in a row. She didn't win another game after that. So she started getting, with every time I would win a game, she was getting more and more frustrated. And in singles, typically I like to, in all of tennis, I like to be friendly, competitive, but friendly. You're out on a court with either 3 other people or in singles, 1 other person. So you don't want it to get ugly or weird, or you want to have fun, right? We're there to burn calories, have a good experience, be out in the sunshine. So she was getting really frustrated. And then she was doing weird things. The more frustrated she got, she did things like she would turn to the fence, turn away from me on her side of the court. She started hitting the fence with her racket. I'm sure you guys have played on a court where someone's yelling at themselves and it's comfortable, right? I think she just had a mental breakdown. She did not win another game after that. It was so uncomfortable for me that I started deciding that I was going to say, I had this little speech in mind, you're a really good player, but I wasn't going to say you beat yourself, but I was going to say, I wanted her to know that we are out here for fun. I understand being competitive, but hitting the fence and yelling at herself does not make, nobody has fun in that situation. Last point happens. She loses the match. And instead of going straight up to the net and shaking her hand immediately, I went to fetch the last ball so that I could kind of get my nerve up to say hey, this was really uncomfortable for me. It was clearly uncomfortable for you. Maybe, don't be so hard on yourself, whatever. I had this whole thing going, right? But I had to think about it. So I go up to the net and I shake her hand and she immediately, thankfully, shook my hand and said, "I'm really sorry the way I acted." And then she had tears in her eyes. She was just so frustrated that she had tears in her eyes. And then my whole speech went out the window. Said nothing. I said, it's okay. It's kind of weird. You don't really know what to say in that situation either. But it was so uncomfortable for me.
Yeah. At least you realized it, though. I think most people don't realize it in situations like that with the way they acted. They normally shake hands and leave versus saying, "I'm sorry for the way I acted."
I thought that was big of her. And I do think that a lot of people, we are club players. I usually call it mom tennis. Not everyone's a mom, but the majority of players that we play against are moms, right? Yeah. And so I always don't take it so seriously. You should be thankful to be out here and have a good time.
You guys give people a pass on the court. You know how some people behave a certain way on the court, but then they're really nice in real life. Do you guys give people a pass, or do you think the way you are on the court reflects how you are in real life?
I think you probably do give people a pass. And that's another really important thing to remember too, is that you're going to see these people outside of the tennis court. You're going to see them at Target. You may end up seeing them at your kid's school or church or somewhere else that might be embarrassing. So it's always good to kind of keep a little perspective in mind that it is a game. And just like you would teach your children to play hard during the sport, you can still play hard, go for the, and if someone's a bad sport to you, you don't have to reciprocate that. Right. You can kind of lead by example. And I think that helps. Not that everybody doesn't lose their cool. I had several examples of that where I've been the one who lost my temper, and it's not easy to do. But I think part of it comes into, for me, during a singles match, it's tough because you don't really have an ally there, somebody to kind of balance it out. You can kind of not good cop, bad cop it a little bit. If someone's really struggling, you can kind of try to bring it back down to some sort of calm focal point. But when you're playing singles, you're kind of alone and you don't have anybody to say, was that really a bad call? Did you really see, is it retaliation or was it really out? Am I being crazy? Is she being crazy? Or so that makes it hard. But I do think it's important to give people a little bit of a pass and give yourself a pass.
How about you, Michelle? Have you had something crazy happen on the tennis court, and did you learn anything from it?
As I was listening to Aaron talk, and it's really funny, most of my interactions have been in a negative, the ones that I would call have more of a negative spin. As I was thinking back, involved the same partner who's an absolute doll in real life, but she's a very hard hitter. And I think sometimes that can be misread or off-putting to people, and they retaliate. Definitely been a couple times where this partner I'm thinking of in particular hits a really hard shot when the doubles player at the net stepped into it and was hit. And then it just got really she called her a name. It got nasty from there. And, honestly, the point learned in it is they literally handed us the match. It was so easy to beat them after that because of how broken down they got from that interaction that really had nothing to do. It wasn't like a personal thing. You want to keep your cool together because you are going to see these people and you'll hope they give you grace if you do act up. And I think it's important, it's important to apologize if you did something that you feel like was maybe not the nicest thing or you didn't handle it the right way. You apologize. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they accept it and sometimes they may not. So, and then sometimes they might say something and then you go, okay, I take it all back. I don't apologize at all, which has also happened to me. And right. I didn't mean it in the nasty, just in the moment. And, scheduling is also very difficult. That factors in. I mean, I've mentioned the time before. Some of us are fortunate enough to have jobs or we're moms and we have very flexible schedules, but that doesn't mean you can't, you can spend the whole day playing tennis. So when rain happens or things get rescheduled, those frustrations can build into the match too. And then the next thing you know, you're acting like somebody you're not. Right. It's good to bring it back down into the stratosphere. But, everybody loses their cool. You apologize and move on. And if you see them again, I mean, the way I approach it, and it could be crazy, is just wipe the slate clean, almost like it didn't, you're going to be your best self you can that day and just expect them to be, instead of carrying that over, try to really just wipe it clean. She had a bad day. I had a bad day. One day doesn't represent, I don't want to be judged on my worst day. And I certainly don't want to do that to somebody else. So yeah, just moving on, keep it moving.
Do you guys get mad when someone hits the ball hard towards you at the net? Do you guys care? Or do you feel like it's part of the game?
Definitely part of the game. The only time I find it irritating is if I hit back and then they're like, they seem offended or they suddenly forget that I was on the receiving. And certainly, that's never my intent to do that. But I mean, if I could control my shot, we'd all, I'd probably be a better ranked player. But
right.
I don't like it when people assume the worst about you and then do it to you. Right. So that can be frustrating.
I like those situations where people are being aggressive and not like hitting at your face. I find that I learn more from people that are hitting really hard, or even if I'm the net person, they're hitting at me. And right, I know Caroline because I've been in matches with her where she's like, "Come on, bring it." It makes a person, because I think that number one, if I feel like they're doing it because they can control it, I feel like it's a good strategy, and that makes me learn that I have to move somewhere else or be ready sooner or whatever it is, right?
Right.
But if I am in a match and that's happening, I actually embrace that situation and figure out how to adjust my tennis game based on
adjust. Yeah, you got to adjust.
But definitely, I would say, since we are kind of talking about more beginner tennis, it's that is understandable that, people might or may not get upset if they get hit right at, because you really can't control. We can control it a little bit more since we've been playing for so long, but not that much. Because like you said, we would be ranked much higher.
There is a part 2 to this episode, not because we have so many crazy situations, but because it's so rare that it happens that you really remember it. I know I have had some moments on the court where I have not been my best self. So it's good to know to apologize and then maybe not to get upset if the ball hits me. Although if it's mixed and it's a 4-man hitting at me, I will be standing pretty far back. We'd appreciate it if you check out our Facebook page, which is Second Serve Podcast. Thanks so much for listening and hope to see you on the court soon.